All right, so the next speaker is a man that really doesn't need much of an introduction, but apparently since job security is a thing for me, I'm here to introduce him anyway. He is the one that started it all back over reading a book by Rod Johnson over Christmas break in 2002. Just gonna let that sink in for 1 second. 2002, and he is still here giving back his contributions to the Java community. Please put your hands together for Juergen Hoeller.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Peter. A welcome from my side. It has been 15 years. I'm actually approaching the 15-year point in just a few weeks. It literally was Christmas break. Well, I've had the pleasure and the privilege to guide the framework through so many years and so many iterations, so many changes in the wider Java ecosystem along the way. And once again, where we are now in 2017, moving into 2018, we are again in the same situation, facing the same challenge, since Spring, the framework, was never really designed to live on an island. It was always a very integrative affair, embracing new JDK generations, embracing relevant infrastructure in the JVM ecosystem as it emerges. So at this very moment, we have interesting changes coming our way in the very core of the Java ecosystem. We get not only JDK 9, we already have it since September, we will actually get a new JDK generation every half year, every 6 months. We really need to let that sink a little, right? We are used to actually get a new JDK every 3 years, well, more like 3.5 even, and now it's every half year. Of course, the frequency of major new features won't change, right? Everybody's human, both us and the OpenJDK group certainly are. So it's simply a faster release cadence. We're going to get a new JDK 10 drop in March 2018. We're going to get a JDK 11 release dropping in September 2018, simply shipping whatever's ready by then. So they're actually pretty minor feature releases in that sense, but they are shipped as major releases, raising the bytecode level in every single JDK iteration, being able to ship new language features in particular in every one of those iterations. So in that sense, they are more than just 9.1, 9.2 releases. They actually do bring new language features. JDK 10, for example, is about to ship a local variable type inference mechanism our way, local var declarations within method bodies. So there is a different model of bringing new features in core Java, the language, and the core JDK libraries, to bring them our way at a more reasonable time, right? Whenever they are ready, basically. There's always a next JDK iteration coming up in half a year's time, so we're never going to unnecessarily wait for more than half a year in order to consume them. That's a fine idea, from my perspective, from many perspectives, I suppose. However, there's kind of another side of that coin. A new JDK generation every half year means a new bytecode level, means tooling needs to be ready to handle a new JDK version, a new bytecode level every half year now. This can be quite a challenge. This can be quite disruptive to the Java ecosystem. Many tools being based on bytecode generation or bytecode processing libraries such as ASM, CGlib, Java Assist, ByteBuddy, they historically haven't evolved to leniently embrace new JDK generations. They have evolved to be designed for a particular set of JDK versions only, and they had to be updated every single time. So we'll have to change our mind a little. We'll have to design our infrastructure, our bytecode processing infrastructure in a way where a new JDK generation is a totally normal thing, right? Oh yes, we'll have JDK 10, we'll embrace it. We'll have JDK 11. Let's just install it and run our existing infrastructure, our existing frameworks, our existing libraries on it, and everything should be good. We'll just have to change our mind towards that model. A particular important note here, not all of them are long-term support releases. And long-term support, of course, is something we really care about. In production, we only really want to use generations of our frameworks and of the JDK, of the JVM, that have a long-term support model attached. We're going to get a long-term support model every 3 years, according to the current plan. This may change, it's all evolving, but from the current perspective, JDK 9 is not a long-term support branch, 10 won't be either. It's only JDK 11, September next year, being the next long-term support release. So it's basically JDK 8 is the current long-term support release, 11 is the next. This presents a challenge to us, of course. We have Spring Framework 5.0 designed for a Java 8 baseline, a JDK 8 baseline. This is very common in the ecosystem now. Everybody, well, not everybody, but many of the libraries are Java 8 baselined in their current generations. They really embrace everything Java 8 has to offer. And, well, they are kind of open towards being used on newer JDK generations. So it's basically Java 8 is kind of the reference point for libraries, frameworks, also for, of course, production environments. And having a newer JDK generation is a bit of a bonus at this point, right? So we have several talks at this show where these topics are being covered in more detail. My own Spring Framework 5 on JDK 8 and 9 talk goes into more detail, both the embracing Java 8 part and the being ready for JDK 9 and beyond part, since that's really the way to look at it. It's not 9, it's actually 9 and following, right? If you're saying JDK 9, you really mean 9, 10, and 11 at least, because you're going to follow that upgrade immediately. And 11 is the one that you're going to embrace in production, really. And there's also Simon Ridder's 55 new features of JDK 9 coming up tomorrow. Well, presenting all the many reasons why you would want to embrace JDK 9 or 10 or 11. And from a Spring Framework perspective, we are totally ready to adapt to the runtime environment that you chose, right? So if you take a Spring Framework 5.0x-based application, run it on 8, it's going to run fine. On 9, it's going to adapt fine. It's already running fine on JDK 10 Early Access. It will run perfectly fine on 11. All right. So JDK 8 is great. JDK 9 is fine, right, in terms of adoption, but be ready to embrace JDK 10 and in particular 11 as they come along, if you choose to move beyond the JDK 8 baseline. Now, beyond OpenJDK itself and everything that's happening, all the innovation that's happening in the JDK and the JVM, there are actually many other interesting efforts out there. And we are involved in quite a few of them. We have a really fine working relationship with the Kotlin group at JetBrains, for example. It's really a pleasure to work with them. This is a collaboration that's very beneficial both ways. Lots of great inspiration to take from this. And many of the recent developments in Spring Framework 5.0 are actually inspired by Kotlin. So if we are talking about Kotlin, we're not just talking about applications being based on the Kotlin language. We're also talking about all the inspiration that comes out of Kotlin and made it back into Spring Framework 5.0 design decisions. So many of the kind of language idioms in Kotlin translate quite nicely to a Java ecosystem or to the use of Lombok as well. There are certain patterns that are really important in Kotlin that make total sense in other language environments and even in traditional Java 8 environments as well. So in Spring Framework 5.0, there are many things coming together. This inspirational part, but also Kotlin extensions that we're shipping all across the framework so that if you choose to use Kotlin as the language to implement your Spring-based application, then Spring, the framework, and its APIs really feel very idiomatic, very Kotlin-ready, beyond the easy part. So we're really going the extra mile to provide first-class Kotlin support. And this is a very beneficial relationship with the Kotlin group because we uncovered many little issues that they fixed for us so that we could do what we wanted to accomplish. This is really a great example for the kind of collaboration that we're doing. Another area is Reactive Streams. Project Reactor was really set up to be Reactive Streams based and is kind of a natural part of the Reactive Streams ecosystem, the Reactive Streams working group. There's a great relationship there, not only with reactivestreams.org itself, but with the RxJava team, with the Lightband people working on Reactive Streams. So there's great collaboration there and great alignment in terms of vocabulary, terminology, in terms of semantics, and of course agreeing on the Reactive Streams processing contracts at runtime. But there are so many things coming together, more than just the minimum. We're really trying to align to the best possible degree, making existing RxJava know-how applicable also to applications using Project Reactor, Spring, and Project Reactor with Spring Webflex typically. So of course there's also a couple of sessions talking about Webflex and Reactor. There's a dedicated Project Reactor session coming up this afternoon. There's also a dedicated Kotlin session that I highly recommend in terms of why Spring loves Kotlin, right? Why Spring is so ready and so willing to give first-class support to this quite new JVM language. All right, so those are great examples where already lots of things have materialized. There is another recent development, EE4J. It's basically we're seeing the end of Java EE as we know it, and EE4J is kind of the follow-up model of evolving the specifications that used to be developed within the Java community process as what we know as Java EE. Right, so all the specifications like the servlet specification, JPA, bean validation, and so forth, they are all donated to the Eclipse Foundation now and being managed or about to be managed as part of the EE4J umbrella project. This is a great opportunity for us to get involved in the specifications that we really care about. And we have a long-standing investment into the servlet specification. We have been members of the JPA expert group for so long. We've been integrating bean validation for so many years. We just recently started embracing the Json Binding Api as an alternative to Google JSON. We are taking many individual specifications from this umbrella. And this is actually in the stages of being set up, right? There are no active working groups there yet. Certain processes have yet to be established over there at the Eclipse Foundation. But it definitely has the potential for us in particular to see more frequent minor releases of certain specifications. Maybe a JPA 2.3, a Servlet 4.1, and not in 4 years' time, but maybe next year, maybe in 2019, at a more reasonable time, simply when all the stakeholders agree that it's worth shipping, right? If Tomcat, Jetty, and Undertow agree that there is an API refinement in Servlet 4, that they want to be shipped as Servlet 4.1, then it really should be happening, or it should be possible to make it happen in a reasonable time frame from that point onwards. All right, so of course we are engaged in so many efforts, but those are really 3 fine examples where we've already been able to ship a lot of added value or expect to be able to ship further added value in 2018. Kotlin 1.3, the coroutine model, the new revisions of Reactor Core 3.2, anything coming out of EE4J, we will be embracing it in a very timely manner in the course of 2018 or 2019, whenever things are ready. All right, from the core Spring Framework perspective, we're really ready to continue the mission that we started with Spring Framework 5.0. So 5.0 was very theme-driven, very thematic. The whole notion of functional API design, reactive architectures, the reactive web stack variants, embracing Kotlin as another first-class choice of languages on the JVM. So the very strong, long-running themes and really ongoing efforts. We are definitely not at the end of any line here. We started a new generation of the framework. We're going in iterations now, listening to the feedback from everybody out there, all the stakeholders, you guys, but of course also the the Kotlin group, our Reactor group, there's so many feedback loops in action here. And along those lines, our roadmap for 2018 has 2 iterations planned, even at the core framework level. We intend to drop a Spring Framework 5.1 in around end of May, early June 2018, just doing whatever we can at that point of time. Possibly embracing some Kotlin 1.3 already, very likely a Reactor Core 3.2, quite a few refinements that we have in our backlog on Jira already. So if you want to have a little bit of insight into what could be happening next year in the core framework area, go to our issue tracker, to our Jira instance, to the 5.x backlog. There's 100-something, almost 200 ideas, issues piling up there, improvement requests piling up there. And if you particularly care about any of those, please just vote on them or comment on them, add your perspective to them. This really influences our prioritization efforts for next year. And even if something can't make 5.1, we intend to have another opportunity, a little bit along the line of the new JDK release cadence, with a Spring Framework 5.2 towards the end of next year. Another opportunity to refine the model, bring new upgrade dependencies to the newest features, embrace new happenings in, for example, Kotlin. Maybe something is coming out of the Reactive Streams collaboration towards a Reactive JDBC indirection API. All of those things we're going to pick up whenever they are ready in a 5.1, a 5.2, possibly a 5.3 iteration in 2019. And these fine people on the slide here are the guys doing the work for you. So this is my Spring Framework group. This is myself, and those guys are the people actually working on the core Spring Framework project on GitHub. So this is a very ambitious effort that we're going through here. We're working on many things in parallel. So we intend to keep working for you. And it's going to be a very exciting year, 2018. I'm personally very much looking forward to seeing what it has to bring. All right, that was really all I had for you this morning. Please do check out the sessions. There are plenty of sessions connecting to the topics that I highlighted here, and enjoy the conference. Thank you.